too bad.
Ostentatious.
Oh, this is exciting. I want to make sure they move it. Find them. Oops, that's the new look.
Okay. He says we're ready, is it time?
Yes. Why he did that? They had a condo for
Call this meeting of the Village Board on June 12th, 2017, 7:30 to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Aiello. Trustee Cazone. Here. Trustee Case.
Here.
Trustee Tucker.
Here.
Trustee Wagner.
Here.
President Bolfus.
That's all. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for a moment. Trustee Wagner, do you have your prayer?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that might affect the residents, staff, businesses, surrounding communities, and all those that enter the village of Villa Park. And continue to remind us that all we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is are there any amendments to the agenda from the board? Seeing none, we'll move down to the Junior Women's Club scholarship presentation. I think we have Gina is going to take charge of that.
Hi, I'm Gina Knudsen. I am currently the president of the Villa Park Junior Women's Club. I'm here with Jen Kirschbaum, and she is the committee chair for the scholarship. The Villa Park Junior Women's Club was founded in 2005 by 4 women who wanted to make their community a better place. In 2006, the first scholarship fundraiser was held and raised enough money to give a $1,000 scholarship to a deserving female Villa Park resident. The scholarship is awarded based on a high GPA and service to the community. The Villa Park Junior Women's Club raises these funds through various events, including our biggest fundraiser, the annual Trick or Trot 5K, which is held in October. This year will be our 5th year, and we are working on making this year the biggest and best, and encourage all members of the community to come and join us. In the past 11 years, we have given over $15,000 to 14 deserving girls. This year, we would like to recognize 2 deserving young ladies who have done numerous works of service in many areas of the community and have maintained a high GPA, as well as balancing many extracurricular activities as well. Valentina Poggi and Hannah Hippensteel are this year's scholarship winners, and we would like to congratulate them and wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors.
Okay.
Thank you.
We probably have the camera on you. Yeah, so that's fine. So, and you probably have some in the back there want to take a picture of you too. So turn around, let them get a shot.
Thank you.
Did you girls want to say anything? You know, this is your opportunity. You know, where are you going? Yes.
Hi, I'm Valentina Poggi. Next year I'm going to be going to Elmhurst College. I'm going to continue playing soccer there, which is something I love, but also I get to begin my journey onto doing another thing that I love. I want to become a veterinarian, so I'm going to do my undergraduate program there and then see where things take me. And I just wanted to thank our community and the great things the Junior Women's Club does for women in our community. Thank you.
So I'm Hannah Hippensteel. Next year I'll be attending Winona State University as to study mass communications with a concentration in journalism to become a national news correspondent, hopefully.
So I just want to say congratulations, girls. That's great achievement, so appreciate it. And to the Junior Women's Club, thank you for being a part of the community and the work you do and supporting the other young ladies in town. And keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Next item is Summerfest. I think we have Director Gola's going to take the lead here.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to, at this moment, introduce Mike Gatz. He's the chairperson for the Summerfest Commission, and he'll do a little promo on Summerfest. It's coming up this weekend. Mike's been at it for years, and the Summerfest Commission just does a tremendous job, and it's a great community event. So I'll let Mike come up, and he can do a little promo. And
Thanks, Greg. Mike. Village Manager, President, Clerk, Trustees. I also wanted to introduce the rest of our commission and our liaison, Mikey Kudelis and Patty Ruiz on our commission, and Matt Adamczyk and my brother Marty Gatz. So our Summerfest is this Friday, June 16th from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. and Saturday the 17th from 11 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. And Friday night, I'll let Matt come up and show the poster here in a second, but Friday night we have a car show, and then we'll have food vendors and live band music entertainment, along with our beer tent and bags tournament. Then Saturday starts the children's activities at 11 a.m., along with the arts and crafters and business vendors that spread out on Ardmore and Park Boulevard there. And the event will run all the way until 10:30 at night. The arts and crafters and the children's events only run until 8 p.m., but our music and food vendors will be open until 10:30. So it's a rain or shine event, so please pray for good weather. Right now it's looking a little iffy, but we've gotten through the rainstorms before, and it kind of ramps up and ramps down, and everybody, we keep going. We keep the music playing. So so with that, I'll have Matt just talk about maybe some of our sponsors. That this is a fully volunteer-based commission, and the event's run by all volunteers. And this event wouldn't be put together without our sponsors and our in-kind donators, and along with the Parks and Rec staff and the police department, the fire department that support us through the event, keep us safe and keep everything in place. And the Parks and Rec are going to be busy this week getting all the details together for us for the site, the fencing, the picnic tables, and all that kind of stuff. So a couple big sponsorships I'll mention. We have Verizon that contributed quite a bit this year. A to Z Tent Rentals, Cal's Electrical Service, Nicro Industries, Mahoney's Irish Pub, the Fun Ones. They support us in doing in-kind with all our tents and all the children's activities. The tents are all donated from A to Z Tent Rentals, and unfortunately I want to pass on the condolences to Bob, the owner of A to Z Rentals, passed away about a week ago, so to him and his family and his staff. So he's been a huge supporter of our event, and has been a great vendor for us for years and a business in town, so we pass on our condolences to his family. The Odeum continues to support us, and of course, as I mentioned, the Villa Park Police Department, the Fire Department, and the Parks and Rec departments as well. So there's a list of other sponsors that help us. We put marketing and advertising up on our website, and on site we do banners and help market their businesses, and their contributions are noted, and we're grateful for them. So my brother Marty's involved with our food vendors. Our poster, it's always a challenge to get everything on the poster and get it to print and get it out. So we're putting all those details together. So the food vendors are going to, Marty, can maybe remind us what food vendors we have?
Michael Anthony's.
Yeah, go up to the mic.
We have Michael Anthony's, Moon Pizza, Teifu, Firewater Barbecue, really, Jimmy Street Tacos, Rich's Deli, and Hey Brothers Ice Cream, and RS Concessions. So we have 7 food vendors this year,
which is
should be a good year.
A good lineup for us with a variety, and you know, we like to make sure there's not competing food menus and things like that, so there's a variety for everybody. We get a great support from the Parks and Rec Department, so I want a special recognition to Mikey Kudalis. She recently got married. I was going to say her maiden name. And Patty does a great job for us too, as she's almost a liaison as well to the Parks and Rec Department to help us get everything done that we need to get done. So this event wouldn't happen with those two helping our commission as well. So other than that, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them as well, or if there's anything I forgot.
I do want to say that Mike Gatz here is an active member of his church, St. Alexander's, in the men's group. That's there. Correct. Yep. He's an active member of the Community Emergency Response Team. That's what CERT stands for. I don't know if you knew that. He has been a part of the Villa Park Summerfest for the last 12 years, right? And this is his 5th year as chairman. That's correct. He's one of the most selfless people I know. Yeah. He's always there to lend an ear. Lend advice.
A moment here, aren't
we? Yeah, we are. Lend a hand. He's a lifelong Villa Park resident, and if the last 5 years are any indication, he can throw this village a hell of a party. Villa Park Summerfest, for me, was new 4 years ago, but in the time since I got to know Mike and the other volunteer commissioners, I've grown to love and respect this town so much more. Being a part of this commission has introduced me to new friends and new opportunities to help our community shine. I think I speak for the entire town when I say that Mike is a friend to all of us in this great village. I am here to help pay tribute to Mike Gatz and the effort he has given to Villa Park over a decade strong. Villa Park Summerfest wouldn't be where it is today without Mike, and to hear Mike talk about Summerfest is pretty inspiring. He believes it is the way that the village can give back to the community with as little government interaction. Not to say that government interaction isn't good from here and there, but the idea to have a blowout party with the car show and giant bouncy houses, mechanical bull, local food vendors, arts and crafters, live music from all over the area, and all the family fun you can shake with a $10 wristband at, all put together with volunteers. It's pretty amazing. Right, so we couldn't pull this festival off with the village without the cooperation of local village officials and the tremendous help from the village police. But the captain of this ship, Summerfest, is definitely Mike Gatz. Thank you, Mike, from all of us in Villa Park for your years of dedicated service to this festival and this village.
Well, thanks for the kind words. I probably couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, with that, I'd like to turn over to President Bolthus because we'd like to recognize you for all your efforts, Mike. Thank you very much.
We didn't mean to embarrass you, but we really did.
No, I'm enjoying it. Thank you.
So, from the village board and from the village, we just want to thank you for your years of effort and putting together a wonderful event. And I think everybody in this community really appreciates what you did and what Summerfest does for the village.
Thank you.
So I have this certificate of appreciation. This certificate is awarded to Michael Gatz for the highly esteemed contribution over the years in planning, implementation, and conducting Villa Park Summerfest, for his servitude on the Summerfest Commission, and for his active dedication to the residents of Villa Park.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Well, just in closing, thanks to everyone for that. Thank you, Matt. That was very nice. You know, almost made it. Thank you for that. So, you know, there's, as I mentioned, it's a lot of volunteers, a lot of time and effort, and we do it for the community. We don't necessarily do it for the village, but for our community, and we want to make it what we want this community to be as residents and people that live here. And I'm proud of what past chair people and chairmen and chairwomen for our event started to rejuvenate this event and to respect our community and run a great event and a safe event. And hopefully it continues for years on, and hopefully there's volunteers and commission members that support this event and other events and commissions in this village, because really this village is made with the people that live in it. And hopefully everybody steps up and really contributes with a full-hearted and in-depth honesty to what they're doing, because it really shows in the end in all our events and all our commissions and everything that this village does. So with that, thanks again. I think I'm going to kindly excuse our whole Summerfest commission for, we got a lot of work to do before Friday.
Yeah, Saturday's coming real close, so.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Commission. So we'll move on to our next agenda item, the Sugar Creek Golf Course Audit for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2016 presentation. Manager Keenan.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sugar Creek Golf Course is a joint venture between the Village of Villa Park and Elmhurst Park District. Ed Tracy from the auditing firm Sheldon Fox will provide an overview of the audited financial statements for Sugar Creek Golf Course for the year ended December 31st, 2016. Once accepted by the Sugar Creek Board, the financial statements will be posted on the village's website. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. President. The rest of the board, I appreciate the opportunity to be here today. We did do the audit for the Sugar Creek Golf Course. This was our firm's second year of conducting the audit. Our audit really has two parts to it. First part is we look at internal controls. We document those controls, perform tests of them to make sure that they're being followed and that they're effective. And then we also do a second part of the audit is really our substantive procedures, where we're vouching to supporting documentation. We're reconciling subsidiary detail to the general ledger, and just kind of doing some analytical work to make sure that the results are as expected. It meets our expectations, comparing it to budget and to the prior year as well. For 2016, the golf course had revenues of a little over $1 million and operating expenses of about $944,000. So you had operating income of about $83,000 for 2016. That was comparable to what it was in 2015. A little less, but still pretty much consistent with those results. Overall, after taking into account interest expense, you had a positive bottom line of about $42,000 for the year. Another key point I think to mention is when we look at the cash flows from the organization for operating the golf course, from the net cash from operating activities was about $234,000 this year. So you generated about $234,000 in cash from your operations, which was used to pay down the debt to both the village and the Elmhurst Park District. Regularly scheduled principal payments and interest payments on the debt were made in 2016. Basically that operating cash flow was about the same amount as what the principal and interest due on debt was. So you had about a net wash in terms of cash flow for the year. But you continue to pay down your debt. The golf course continues to pay down its debt to the village and to the park district. And the other point I just kind of want to make, when we looked at the financial statements and did the audit, I was very pleased to see how well the management budgeted for the operations in this year. When I look at revenues and expenses and compare it to what the budgets were for those items, it was really very close. So it's obvious that management is taking a close look, using realistic revenue projections, and then keeping those expenses in line with those revenue projections, and as a result, positive bottom line. So it was overall, I think, a good year for the golf course. Again, golf courses can be tough. Lots can depend on weather and things like that, but you're able to generate positive cash flows and a positive bottom line for the year.
Any questions from the board members? Well, for me, thank you for that positive report. I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to number 7. Consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a license agreement between the Village of Villa Park and J-Dev Brewing Company. Mayor Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The owners of Moore Brewing Company are completely renovating an existing building located at 126 South Villa for a sit-down restaurant and brewery. The owners would like to use the alley behind their building for outdoor seating and a beer garden. They plan to replace the existing dilapidated asphalt, add overhead LED lighting, and enclose the area with a 4-foot-high fence. The village has no use for this area, and it would be a great addition to the facility. Staff recommends allowing Moore Brewery the use of this village-owned property. And Your Honor, I believe the two owners are in the audience this evening.
Is there any members from the public like to make a comment on this? Okay, seeing none, any board members? The owners?
Yes, Sonny and Perry.
Yeah. Why don't you come up to the podium there and give us a little overview of what you got going on over there.
So
this is your promotion time. You're on TV.
Thank you. Actually, so we took a building right on 126 South Villa and pretty much cut everything down out of the building and replaced it with the brand new front. And we did rather, put a full kitchen inside. We put a full brewery. We have 10-barrel brewing system. We have about from 124 to 200 people sitting area inside, and we're gonna have full restaurant serving food. So we are thinking to just put a little addition in the back so that people can sit down and have outside sitting area.
Do you have a start date in mind yet?
We just got it started. We put our brew system. Everything is tuned up right, and we are gonna start brewing the beer on Monday. And from there, we just need 3 to 4 weeks to beer to be mature. We should be
So
good.
hopefully July 15th, Saturday would be the grand opening we're looking at.
It'd be great.
Yep.
Been watching your progress there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's
Appreciate it.
taking a little longer than expected, but it was a long journey, about 14 months. A lot of renovation, a lot of stuff going ups and down all the time, and a lot of equipments are obviously not made in America nowadays. Takes 6 months for us to get it delivered. That's
Sure.
what took us longest time. So we're in
There's always-
process. Around give
always
us another month
challenges.
and we'll have the beer ready for you guys.
Always challenges when you're starting up something new. So.
Thank you.
Thank you
Okay,
for
thank
And congratulations on the victory.
Okay. Thank you.
Haven't
Any
done that.
members of the board have any comments on this item?
A question for our attorney. Do we need any kind of insurance or anything since we're a private business, we working on a village-owned piece of property?
No, it's covered by our general liability insurance, and then they provide their own insurance as a part of their licensing process.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else from the board? Yes, Cheryl Tuckler.
I have concerns on the overhead lighting with all the wiring through there. There's a whole lot of wiring system between the two buildings.
So what we're gonna try to make is most of the wirings are connected for AT&T, which is we don't use anymore. We're gonna take them out. Anything for the electric, which is 120 to 240 voltage, they are high up enough so we can put our lighting underneath that. And we're gonna try to make a fence where it's removable, so if Comet wants to come in and do a services, nothing is permanent on the ground, so they cannot remove it.
Are you gonna have the ability for them to reach those wires on that line?
They should be.
Yeah,
It's just the moving tables out of the way and fence, take out the fence on the side, so.
Any other members of the board have questions or comments? You guys will be around here a little while. If anybody from the public wants to ask you anything,
Sure, sure. We'll be
can,
here.
Speak with them.
Sure.
So,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So with that, so is that's it? So they want to make, okay, we have a motion, consensus to move this to the former place.
Yes, Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. Item number 8, consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, adopting the Village of Villa Park Residential Rain Barrel Grant Program Policy. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The purpose of the Residential Rain Barrel Grant Program is to encourage the installation of rain barrels to retain runoff from residential rooftops. This would allow rainfall to be used as a resource instead of a liability. The proposed grant program would partially reimburse the homeowner up to $40 of the actual cost of the rain barrel. The homeowner would be able to purchase a rain barrel of their choice from any store. And Your Honor and Board, this would curtail the village from storing rain barrels and selling them to the public. So the public would have the opportunity to buy their rain barrel from anywhere, install it, and bring the receipt to us, and we would reimburse them $40 on an annual basis. Thank you, Ron.
Any members from the public have a comment on this item? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Wagner.
I want to applaud staff for bringing this forward. I know other communities, for example, Lombard does this, and I've talked to their Assistant Public Works Director, Dave Gorman. He said that pretty successful, and then it's a way residents can save money and we can conserve rainwater. So I think it's a great idea.
Anyone else? Seeing none, consensus to move this to the formal.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Bolton?
Yes. Item 9, consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving an addendum agreement between the Village of Villa Park, Illinois, and the State of Illinois, Illinois Department of Transportation for the improvements to Illinois Route 38 and the appropriation of funds for the village's share of the project cost in amount of $84,922. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. On March 28, 2016, the village entered into an agreement with IDOT to construct certain improvements in Illinois Route 38, otherwise known as Roosevelt Road, from 7th Avenue to Route 83. It has been determined that additional work, including structure adjustments and fire hydrant relocations, are necessary. To ensure that the work is done properly and according to IDOT plans, it is necessary to include the work within the existing contract. The proposed work would result in an increase in the village's share of the joint agreement with IDOT to $16,604.50 for a new total for the village of $84,922. Funds for this additional work would be taken from the Water Supply Fund, 82-502-02401. And Your Honor and Board, the total cost of the IDOT project is $2,163,656, and the additional cost to us is for fire hydrants to be relocated, valve boxes, valve vaults, and B boxes to be adjusted. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any members from the public have a comment?
I'd like to ask something.
Okay. When you come up to the podium, please sign in.
Sure.
State your name for the
My name
folks
is
at home.
Suzanne Reed. I live in the 1400 block of, oh, no pen here. I'll fill it out later. 1400 block of South Euclid. Is there a place where I can find out exactly what's going to be done to Roosevelt Road? Where are the plans? Where is that? Would I?
Manager Keener?
Your Honor, it
It's on
should
the
be on our website, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Under Document Center?
Could be, or Public Works for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else?
That was it for now. That was it for now.
Okay.
Oh, yes, you can.
Anyone
I'm
else
sorry.
from the public have a comment? Okay. Seeing none, questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, consensus to move this forward.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
President Bolton?
Yes. Item number 10, consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing an engineering service agreement between the Village of Villa Park and RJN Group Incorporated for the engineering service for the 2017 combined sewer separation facility plan in the amount of $45,330. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village's stormwater management addendum to the village's comprehensive plan identified combined sewer separation as a priority for underground infrastructure improvements. Following the successful referendum to increase the sales tax, staff is looking to implement several combined sewer separation projects with the additional funds. Completing a facility plan for these projects is the first step in getting approval for low-interest loans through the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. RJN Group has submitted a proposal to create a facility plan at a cost not to exceed $45,330. Funds for this work would be taken from the wastewater fund combined sewer separation account 83-502-04-292, The design for these projects would be covered under separate engineering contracts. And Your Honor and Board, there are 16 different projects that will be fall under this particular facility plan. And there's at least 3 different tasks that RJN will be completing, leading us up to being able to apply for low-interest loans through IEPA. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Tucker.
Are they only involved in the process of getting the loan or the interest thing, or are they going to be involved in the 5-year process?
Your Honor, the facility plan, its shelf life is 5 years. So RJN will complete the facility plan for the 16 projects, and then that facility plan will be good for 5 years, and that allows us, the Village of Villa Park, to apply for the low-interest loans throughout that 5 years.
Will they be there to revise that plan once it's put in effect in that 5 years, or is that something that's going to be added on to once they put that effect?
I don't think there's any revisions after that, is there? So that would be
Once it's
the
in
plan.
effect, that would be the plan?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
If by chance something did come up and we'd have to make amendments to this, but usually there's not. So
They're
they
just
should have.
helping us get the grant or whatever. Is that what this plan is
helps us
intended to do?
Helps us to get the IEPA loans.
Loans, right.
But,
so the plan is to help us get the loans.
Yeah.
And they are in the process of helping us do this, or is the village doing it with this plan?
I think they're in the process of helping us.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
So yeah, they're in the process of helping us.
Okay.
There's a lot of work, a lot of paperwork, and it does take some expertise to do that. So, anyone else? Seeing none, consensus to move this forward.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Wolfus?
Yes. Item 11, consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving the purchase of 3 2017 Ford Utility Police Interceptor vehicles through the Suburban Purchasing Cooperative in the amount of $84,702. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. Funds are budgeted for the purchase of 3 police vehicles in the fiscal year 2017-2018 village budget. This resolution will authorize the purchase of 3 police vehicles, which will be used to replace vehicles that are ready for replacement. Cost of the vehicles will be taken from the Equipment Replacement Fund, account number 65-502-02-401. And Your Honor and Board, just as we always do, so we buy 3 new vehicles, 3 new vehicles are rotated out through different departments, and eventually you'll more than likely see 3 vehicles as surplus property, which will come before the board to be auctioned off. And then those proceeds will go into the Equipment Replacement Fund to purchase additional equipment. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, any comments or questions from the board? Trustee Tucker.
How old are the 3 vehicles we're rotating out?
You know, or we got Rich.
Actually, I believe Acting Police Chief Mike Lay would like to address that question.
Good evening. One of the vehicles is a 2011 Dodge Charger. The other 2 are a 2001 Dodge Durango and a 2004 Dodge Durango.
Yes.
The mileage on them, Mike? What are we talking mileage-wise?
I don't know the specific mileage, but they're all well over 100,000 miles.
All over 100,000? Okay.
And a reminder, those will be rotated into other departments.
Oh, I understand.
So,
I'm just wanting to know, as police vehicles, how many miles we're actually on it.
sure. Anyone else? Seeing
Quick
none? Yes, hold on. Trustee Kazan.
What's the cost to outfit a vehicle then once we get it? You know, get all the light sirens and radios and everything in there? Yeah, just a rough estimate on it.
And I'm not sure of the specific cost per each vehicle, but it's about $12,500, I think, is what we're looking at to equip those 3 vehicles.
All 3 of them?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Would you like me to address it? Sure, you got any more?
Your Honor, Acting Police Chief Mike and I discussed that since that $12,000 is below my purchasing authority. That's something that Mike and I will do once Fleet gets involved and decides on which light bars and things of that nature. Fleet likes to do this internally so they know where all the wires are. So if it happens to malfunction, they know exactly where to go. And it's not installed by a third party, so they have to guess and start tearing things out. So thank you, Your Honor and Board.
Consensus to move this forward.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Kazone,
Yes.
trustee Case,
Yes.
trustee Tucker,
Yes.
President Bolfus.
Yes. Item 12, consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, in support of the DuPage County application for the 2017 Regional Transportation Authority Chicago Metropolitan Agency of Planning Local Technical Assistance Planning Assistance Service Grant. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Your Honor, just so you know, I did not write that. I will suffer through my part just as well. DuPage County is applying for a Planning Assistance Services grant through RTA CMAP to prepare an arterial corridor land use study for the Route 83 transportation corridor generally from St. Charles Road north to the county line. Due to the expanse of the project, multiple jurisdictions would be impacted. The county is requesting the village board's support of the project by means of the resolution being considered this evening. There is absolutely no cost to the village. So, Your Honor and Board, this is just a resolution of support for DuPage County's grant submittal. Thank you.
Any comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, questions or comments from the board? Trustee Wagner.
I do have a question. I know the manager is on the DuPage Mayors and Managers Transportation Committee, is that right?
That's correct.
Are we planning for something greater? I know the county has a transportation plan. Is there anything in the works for bus lanes on Route 83 or anything like that?
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. I think what the DuPage County is doing, this happens to be a comprehensive plan, if you will, to go along with the GO-TO 24 plan or 2040 plan, which is now going to be called On to 2050. So they're trying to identify land use and a land use strategy for that particular corridor. And they've done this in the past, and I believe it was for like Lake Street. And so it's just another part of a puzzle that they're putting together. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
But none of this area here is in Villa Park. We're just supporting their plan.
Very little is in Villa Park, Your Honor.
Right. Consensus to move this forward.
Trustee Wagner,
Yes.
trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Kazone.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker.
Yes.
President Bolfus.
Yes. Item 13, consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, concerning a hearing required to be held pursuant to the Bond Issue Notification Act of the State of Illinois prior to the sale of general obligation bonds, sales tax alternative revenue source, Series 2017B. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village continues the process to issue alternate revenue bonds, also known as ARBs, for stormwater projects. A public hearing on the ARBs was scheduled for this evening, and this resolution verifies details of said hearing. In the coming weeks, staff will continue to work with the library and our bond team to issue ARBs for stormwater projects and the first tranche of general obligation GO bonds for the referendum-approved library project. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, consensus to move this to the formal.
Trustee Case.
Yes.
Trustee Kazone.
Yes.
Trustee Tucker.
Yes.
Trustee Wagner.
Yes.
President Bolfus.
Yes. Item 14, consider a resolution of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving prevailing wage rates. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. The village is required each June to either conduct its own investigation into prevailing wage rates in the area or adopt the determination of the Illinois Department of Labor. Staff recommends that the board approve a resolution to adopt the prevailing rate of wages and publicly post the determination as required under the Act. This year's joint notice will be made with the Boards of Education of Villa Park Elementary School District 45, Salt Creek School District 48, DuPage High School District 88, and the Villa Park Library. And your board and Your Honor, we do this as a joint venture to save on publicly posting the cost. So all the entities go in together and share the posting cost. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any questions or comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the board? Consensus to move it forward.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. Item 15, consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing sale by public auction of personal property owned by the village, like bikes, chairs, and miscellaneous equipment. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. Each year, the Village of Villa Park Police Department sponsors a public auction as a means to dispose of the village's surplus personal property, bikes, chairs, and various equipment. It is proposed that the auction be held at the Villa Park Public Works Building located at 28 West Home Avenue at 8:30 a.m. on July 4, 2017. An ordinance is required to authorize the sale of the listed items. And Your Honor and Board, there is a list within the ordinance of various bikes, chairs, and other equipment that the staff would like to add into the auction on that day to liquidate and kind of clear out our storage area. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any comments from the public on this item? Okay. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, consensus to move this forward.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. Item 16, consider an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, authorizing sale by public auction of personal property and seized vehicles owned by the Village of Villa Park. Manager Keener.
Thank you, Your Honor. Proceeds from the sale of the vehicles will be placed into the Equipment Replacement Fund and used to purchase additional equipment. So, Your Honor and Board, we do have 9 different vehicles that staff would like to auction off within the next few weeks. And they're all seized this time, so 1 through 9 are as follows. Number 1 is a seized 2002 Honda Civic. Number 2 is a seized 1995 Mercedes E320. Number 3 is a seized 2001 Volkswagen Jetta. Number 4 is a seized 1999 Honda Civic. Number 5 is a seized 2001 Mercedes E320. Number 6 is a seized 1998 GMC pickup. Number 7 is a seized 2002 Chevy Trailblazer. Number 8 is a seized 1998 Ford F-150 pickup. Number 9 and the final one is a seized 2006 Chevy Impala. And Your Honor and Board, staff has reviewed these vehicles, and when we, if approved this evening, we'll put them on the Ovenoff auction site with pictures and notes of what's wrong and what if they run, etc. And just so Your Honor and Board and folks at home and here know that actually, as staff, we look through these vehicles too to see if we can use them as staff rather than buy new vehicles. And these come recommended from fleet to auction off as surplus property. Thank you, Your Honor.
Any comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, any questions or comments from the board? Seeing, Trustee Wagner.
Just a quick question. Where are these vehicles stored?
Thank you, Your Honor. They were stored in Area 51, which is behind Jewel. Now they're located over behind Fleet in a fenced-in area. Thank you, Your Honor.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Consensus to move this forward.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Bolfus?
Yes. With that, we'll move to the formal agenda. And we have the first item on here is anybody from the public who have comments on the items on the formal agenda. If you have any comments on non-agenda items, that would be on item number 6 on non-agenda items. So does anyone have any comments on any items that are on the agenda? Yes. Please state your name and sign in.
I live at 523 South Yale Avenue. First and foremost, I'd like to commend the gentleman opening the brewing company on what a fantastic rehabilitation job they've done on that building. Completely awesome. I would, however, encourage everyone to look closely at the plan for the outdoor seating. We would love to have the outdoor seating. I think it would be fabulous. But right now, there are issues. There are issues right now with the parking in that whole general area. Pioneer's having a really rough time securing even the property they own for parking. The Double D Saloon patrons are parking all across that whole back area. People from Anon are parking back there, and on any given day, you can try to go to Pioneer, and they're really suffering because there's nowhere for their people to park. So hopefully we can come up with a compromise that you guys will be able to facilitate that and still give everyone that's using all of those locations a good ample spaces to park.
They're pretty good neighbors.
It's a rough spot. They're awesome people, and I know I was there last weekend, and there was absolutely nowhere to park because all of the saloon people were using the Pioneer parking.
Yeah, we're aware of that situation. It's a real struggle to find
Yes.
parking places that we could acquire in that area, but staff is diligently working on relieving the parking in that area. So,
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
And until that, we'll work with our neighbors and make sure that everything is smooth.
Please sign in.
Yeah,
I'm in already.
You signed already?
Yes, thank you.
anyone else from the public comment on an agenda item? Okay. With that, we'll move on to any amendments to the formal agenda from the board? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move to the consent agenda. I'll just read the first couple because everything else on here we've already covered. Item A is the bill listing from the week of May 30th and June 5th, 2017 for a total of $1,474,768.74. Item B is the minutes from the village COW meeting on May 22nd, 2017. Item C is the minutes from the village board meeting on May 22nd, 2017. And then we go from D all the way through to M. So do I have a motion for the consent agenda?
Mr. President.
Trustee
I make a
Kazan?
motion to approve the
Do I
consent.
have a second? Trustee Wagner?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any roll call vote, please?
Trustee Kazan?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Volkes?
Yes. Item number 4, first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, granting a variation for the rear yard and corner side yard at 803 South Wisconsin Avenue. Petitioner is seeking approval for a variance request to allow the addition of a 2-car garage that will encroach within the required rear yard setback, and approval of a patio that will encroach into the required corner side yard setback. At the public hearing on May 11, 2017, no one spoke in opposition to the request, and the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the variance request. Do I have a motion for the first and final reading?
Mr. President.
Trustee
I
Kazan?
make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Trustee Case. Any questions or comments on this item from the board? Seeing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Kazan?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
President Volkes?
Yes. Item 5, first and final reading of an ordinance of the Village of Villa Park, DuPage County, Illinois, approving a variation for the front yard at 835 South Summit Avenue. Petitioner is seeking approval for a variance request to allow the construction of an attached garage and front porch that will encroach within the required front yard setback. The petitioner is also removing the existing detached garage and driveway in the rear yard. At a public hearing on May 11, 2017, no one spoke in opposition to the request, and the Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the variance request. Do I have a motion for the first and final reading?
President
Trustee
Volkes,
Wagner?
I'd like to make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Trustee Case, second. Any questions or comments? Seeing none? Oh,
I
Trustee
have a
Tucker.
question. And I didn't, from looking at the blueprints, is this infringing the fence on the neighbor side on the south? It sort of looked like there was very little space between that.
I'm not sure if the petition was in.
We have a stand-in for Patrick Grill today, the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yeah, I don't think we saw, hi. I don't think we saw any problems with the fence. There's enough separation still to allow for the fence and the neighboring property to occur. It's really in this case, it's really that it's coming forward past the past the front yard setback,
yard, okay.
which is the average of the neighborhood there. So, but it was really the only way to allow for an attached garage. It really needed to come forward, otherwise you couldn't get one deep enough. Their existing detached garage is downhill, and so that's what's driving this request.
The chimney too?
The chimney, from the neighbors?
No, there's a chimney on their side of the property. Is that stopping before their chimney of the house, or do you know if they're moving it?
The architect's here for the petitioner.
State your name, please.
My name is Tom Knapp. I'm the architect for the subject property. You're asking about there's an existing fireplace chimney in the south side yard.
On the south side of that house.
The new addition for the garage will encapsulate that chimney. It's going to be a 2-car garage as the primary, and there's a smaller area in the back, which is a 2.5-car garage for storage of bicycles and other things.
So the section in the back's encompassing that chimney that they have on the houses.
Yeah, it'll be like in the shape of an L, so it will take up that chimney. The chimney will be part of the new addition. If that helps.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, roll call vote.
Trustee Kazone?
Yes.
Trustee Tucker?
Yes.
Trustee Case?
Yes.
Trustee Wagner?
Yes.
President Bolkus?
Yes. Item 6, public comment on non-agenda items. If anyone has a comment on non-agenda items, did you sign in already? Yes, please state your name for the fans at home.
Good evening, John Devens, 1505 South Euclid. Village Manager Rich, picture your daughter, Sydney, walking with her friends down the street where you live. Car going 60 miles per hour. Can't react in time to avoid her. Hits her, drags her 150 feet under its wheels, killed her instantly. Village President Baltus, picture your grandchild at the end of your driveway, conducting a lemonade stand. Car going 75 miles per hour loses control and crushes your grandchild under its frame. Both of you and all the village board members might find these gruesome images somewhat unbelievable. These are the thoughts that run through the residents of South Euclid Avenue every single day. Our quality of life is suffering and being put in jeopardy every day because of the board's dereliction of duties. Is it not part of your responsibility to ensure the safety and well-being of your constituents? Recently, FOIA'd request of a traffic study for our block indicated over 2,000 cars traveling down our street in a 48-hour period. 11 of those cars careened down our streets at speeds in excess of 75 miles per hour. Think about it, 75 miles per hour. You've had that information for over a year and done nothing with it. You've had me into personal meetings and said these numbers are not unusual. You've taken me aside and said, we really care about you guys and want to look out for your best interest. Members of the board, is our safety and quality of life not in your best interest? Have we not made a case to ensure traffic mitigation on Euclid Avenue in the form of a cul-de-sac is not warranted? If 1,000 plus cars per day, many traveling over a 50 miles per hour in a 25 mile per hour zone, doesn't warrant consideration, I don't know what does. If a car that obliterates your concrete mailbox and rolls onto your front lawn doesn't warrant consideration, I don't know what does. Your inaction on this matter speaks volumes. It is negligence. You were elected to enhance the quality of life of your constituents. It's time to start doing so.
Anyone else on a non-agenda item? Yes.
Again, I'm Christine Murphy. I live at 523 South Yale Avenue, and I would just like to formally submit my application for consideration to the 2-year appointed board position.
Do you have the application? Oh, okay. Thank you.
Say who you are and where you live.
Pull that mic. There you go.
Sam Gargano, 1485 South Euclid Avenue. Me and my dad, a few weeks ago, we were playing football, and I actually have the description of the cars. They were both lining up to speed, and they both speeded down our road at high rates of speed, and we had to stop. And it scares pretty much a special needs mom, because she has a baby and 2 special needs kids, and we ride our bikes up and down, and it scares, I don't know, anyone on South Euclid. I realized that you guys have the speeding thing down the street and the one on ours, and I came up with an idea. If you have a bump with like spikes that goes up and you're going too fast, it automatically goes up and slows the tire down. Thank you.
Hi, thank you. I'm Sam's mom, and I also live at 1485 South Euclid. And thank you for your attention to this matter and allowing us some time to speak. I have lived in and around the village of Villa Park for 40 years. I'm one of the transplants. I grew up here. I remember when there was a bowling alley on St. Charles Road, and rode my bike all throughout town when I was young. And I was happy to bring my family back here to raise my children in a great community. And so we all make thoughtful considerations when we move to a town. And I knew about the south side, the further south side, and we chose Euclid. And we chose Euclid because it was a 25-mile speed area. It was in 2003. And it wasn't Villa, and it wasn't Summit. I mean, and these were thoughtful decisions. But something has changed since we moved in 2003. I don't know what that is. I know that the cut-through traffic is considerably higher. And that traffic study, which my neighbor referenced, there are lots of cars going down our street. 252 cars greater than 40 miles an hour, 156 cars greater than 45, 108 cars going more than 50 miles an hour. You can say what you want about you should have known, don't buy there, move. However, the same isn't happening on Villa and the same isn't happening on Summit. It's probably not happening on St. Charles Road. Okay, and it's just something about the street, whether it's the engineering, whether it's the design, whether it was the red light. These are not for me to things for me to tell you, but I trust that with the great minds in this community, someone can come up with a solution for us. The speeds, what are especially troubling, are during the day and early evening, and it's not just our children. Yesterday night, I was sitting outside. There were 2 kids riding their bikes. I've never seen them before. That was at 7:52 p.m. And at 8:14, another child. These are people not familiar with the area. They don't know what goes on that street. And there are no sidewalks, so they're in the street. And so this is not a South Euclid problem. This is a community problem. There are people who live elsewhere. They walk down. You want them to go to GFS and you want them to go to Walgreens. And they walk in the street with baby carriages. There is a beautiful child with Down syndrome who rides her bike to Pete's every day. And by the grace of God, she was not there that day. Because those bricks, how they flew, would have hit her. And you know what? I'm sure her parents have no idea the speeds on that street. Because nobody did. And most importantly, the 85th percentile. You had a police chief stand up here in April of last month and tell you, dismissed my neighbor. It's an exaggeration. The 85th percentile is a standard that you look at when you design a road. And it's the 85th percentile your speed should be within 5 miles of, give or take. The 85th percentile is 39 miles an hour. So that is what an engineer would expect a car to travel freely on. Again, you have some people exhibiting really extremely bad behavior going 75 and 70, but a normal driver, it could be you or you get there, you see an open space, and you're comfortably going to go 40 miles an hour because nothing's stopping you. It's a quarter of a mile stretch with nothing to interrupt you. Speeding in traffic, and thank you for indulging me a little extra time, I apologize. Speeding is occurring at a high prevalence that the problem can't be fixed with enforcement. We are not traffic engineering professionals, but your own study shows there's a significant problem that the village needs to correct by any means possible. You heard the instance of last week about a mailbox. Today, further down at Harrison and Euclid, I was almost hit by the Castle car dealer spinning around the side. Just and an anecdotal story, and my neighbor isn't here, a ball runs into the street. It's a classic story, which, by the way, if we would have followed what the police chief told us to do, put our cars on the street, the kid would be dead right now. I'm coming southbound, my neighbor's northbound, we wave him out in the street, go get the ball, because we stopped traffic for you. It wasn't the car behind me, it was the car behind them. Drove right around, and this was at 8 o'clock in the morning. Didn't stop. Didn't say, oh, wow, that happened. So I want you to understand that you think it's just a group of neighbors that are really upset about this and that they're one-time instances. When you call through this report, it's not one time. It's many, many, many times. And it's not 5 miles an hour, and it's not 10. It's 20, 30, 40, and 50. And I ask you to take a look at whatever engineering solutions you may do, and this cannot wait until the Thornton property is developed, because the real problem is here today. Thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you guys this evening.
State your name, please.
My name is Roseanne Devens. I also live at 1505 South Euclid. I had a whole entire speech plan, but I'm going to speak with you guys candidly and from the heart, okay? There are improvements which you mentioned in your agenda, number 9, about the changes that are going to be made on Roosevelt Road. Some of these changes are going to directly impact not only Euclid, it's going to impact Villa, Reardon, and Summit. And it's going to increase the amount of traffic that's going to go down the street. We have an opportunity right now to be proactive before anything else happens. The police department was great, calm, made me chuckle. I was fine. This whole idea, and then I saw these signs that you guys put up with the speed, which are inaccurate. Cars are going by, it's not clocking the speed. I want you guys to, actually I want to ask a question. Did you guys all go through, because some of you are new on the board, did you go through the traffic report? And do you find it disconcerting?
Found it interesting, yes.
Interesting, but it doesn't bother you?
There were parts in there that were bothersome.
There should be lots. Mr. Cazone, you worked with and helped all the students at Willowbrook for years. You realize that a lot of those Willowbrook students are taking that path to school. You also realize that the summer camps and summer schools go Monday through Thursday. The incident of the mailbox, and I'm not exaggerating because the bricks went 150 feet, 3 doors down. That happened on a Friday morning. If it was a Thursday morning, my son, Sam Gargano, a lot of the neighbors would have been out waiting to go make their way to summer camp. We were lucky nobody was coming the opposite direction as well. And my son is just learning to drive, and that happened minutes after I'm trying to teach him how to pull out of the driveway slowly and carefully. He's only 50% of the equation. The other equation is the other drivers. We all have a moral and ethical responsibility to make sure that you guys need to do something. I should have kept my little speech, but I voted in federal and state level elections, but I never really paid much attention to local government because I always figured local government lives here. They're invested in the community the way I'm invested in the community, and they're going to look out for me, that it's not a worry for me. It wasn't until we started this process a year ago, and I feel like no one's hearing us. So put my faith back into local government where I don't have to worry. And don't tell me why we can't do something. Help us figure out what we can do. Thank you.
Suzanne Reed again, 1450 South Euclid. So I wanted to say thanks for putting up the little electronic signs. They're in bad positions. I have come out of Roosevelt and I've come out of Walgreens parking lot, and it doesn't register me. But it has slowed the traffic down because, like me and my daughter were talking when we first noticed them the day after that horrific accident where where an SUV is turned on its side in my neighbor's yard. It's kind of slowed the vehicles down because we were talking, it's like it shames you into slowing down. But the second one, you have one right off of Roosevelt Road after a turn, so it really doesn't catch the real good speeders that are about my house or the Garganos. And then the other one is just past Reardon when you're just come from a stop sign. So it really is, I thank you for them because they do shame a few people into slowing down quicker than they normally would. But with the concern of Roosevelt Road being changed, and I have the feeling we're going to maybe triple our traffic, and that's going to be really bad for our block. If they're going to put Thorntons in, they're going to be forcing them down our block. We talked about this before the last meeting. Like she says, we have to figure out something to protect all of those blocks when when Roosevelt Road is being done. I hear there's going to be no left turn, though they're dangerous. I think the day after that accident, there was a horrible accident on Villa. You know, I know that as soon as those signs are down, they'll be back to speeding very fast. I just got to put together something and think about all of us on the street and even the next block over. And I know that's not your concern because that's all unincorporated. But you can't walk the dog. You can't go out anymore. And I don't, like she says, I don't know. I moved there in '95 and we never had that issue. It's gotten really bad in the last few years and I don't know what that is. Why are there so much more traffic on our street all of a sudden in the last few years? I don't know, but thank you.
Good evening, Brett Gargano, 1485 Euclid. The accident that occurred last Friday, June 9th, about 8:05 a.m., which the car flipped over and knocked out a masonry mailbox. This mailbox was a permanent masoned into the ground mailbox that was blown to pieces and knocked down. The fact that the cut-through traffic that is coming down our street is evident, loud and clear. The traffic is traveling way too fast for a residential street. This event substantiates the June 26 traffic study that was done by your village, you guys, and registered cars going as fast as 75 miles per hour down a residential street with kids on them. You guys did this study in 2016, and it's still going on. I don't see officers. I don't see cars being traffic clocked. The effort needs to be stepped up. I think this is a huge alarm sounding for the village and might be the most appropriate time to introduce the close down or a cul-de-sac on Euclid before anybody else or any other residents in our area get hurt. I encourage you guys to view the police report, and if you'd like, I have numerous pictures. You should take a look at what occurred on that street and think, if your child was on that street, how safe would you feel? Please, guys, take a look, because if somebody gets hurt down the road while we're waiting to figure out a solution, that can't be good for the village or any of you sitting up there. So we want to work with you guys. We're willing to do whatever we can do as citizens to work along with you guys to solve this problem. But I think the upcoming issue with Thornton's coming to town might be a perfect opportunity to work with Thornton's, the village, and the residents to find a way to cul-de-sac that street and do it in a manner so that it doesn't impact your budget and make Thornton's brunt some of the cost to close that street down so that no one gets hurt in the future. Thank you.
Did anyone else have something on this topic?
Go ahead.
John, do you want to go? You.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
State your name for the record.
Yes.
Sign in.
John Barsati, and I'm a resident of Villa Park. There's an issue that's ongoing that many of you already know about. I have a homeowner whose property contiguous to mine filing complaints with the village alleging that my positioning of my downspouts causing the rainwater collecting in my gutters and dispensing it in the downspouts into a swale along the property line, exiting down away towards the towards what?
Sewer?
Yeah, the storm sewer, thank you. Now, it's about a year, no, oh my gosh, 10 years ago, about 10 years ago, a formal complaint was lodged that his foundation, which is 18 feet from the property line, was being impacted, and that the runoff water from my downspouts was causing his sump pump to operate excessively, and that his basement was sometimes flooded. Now, the swale on the property line is graded at a sufficient pitch to carry stormwater runoff toward the village's storm sewers, located in the front, but not sideways towards his foundation. Still, he insisted that my setup was a nuisance and that my property was in violation of the village's ordinances. The Villa Park's engineering department subsequently inspected my property, and the community development department issued a determination that my property is in compliance with the village's ordinances. And I have that right here, and I'd like to pass it out to you.
You hand it to the clerk.
Yeah, I'll hand it to
please.
the clerk. Madam Clerk?
Do you have one for me? An extra
Sure, I
one?
have another one. Don't read it now, read it later. I'll just tell you what the findings were. The downspouts located in my property are in compliance with the Village of Villa Park Municipal Code of Ordinances, and the water drainage from my land does not meet the definition of a nuisance. Well, it was resolved. I made a few changes with the way the E's were by the suggestion of the engineering department, and I thought that the issue was resolved, but recently the homeowner filed another similar but different complaint. Now that same water that has been corrected is damaging his landscaping. Now, the village came out again, the inspectors came out again, all professional, very courteous, and decided that they're going to do a study. They're going to study both properties now and make some recommendations. But I've been told that I am going to be impacted with a cost for that study. And I don't know why. Maybe somebody could tell me? Because my property is in compliance with everything. His property may be in compliance with everything, but he's telling everybody that I'm destroying his property because I'm not correcting my runoff, what he considers to be a problem, and there is no problem. So what am I going to do when you charge me for a bill for the study you want to do?
Well, I would say you just have to keep working with staff. I have no idea where exactly your water goes, if it's going on his property or where it's going. And if there's a study, the village should have to pay for the study. Who has to pay for the study? That's your question, right?
Right. And
you
if
don't think you should have to.
No,
I'm
and
sure
if
the
I,
neighbor
if I,
doesn't
you know,
think you
if
should have
I'm
to.
going,
It's not
I
our
shouldn't
water.
even be taken out of the study because my property is not doing anything, because it's already been determined that it's not doing anything.
You do have a letter, so.
Yeah. But I invite you all, please come and see what is there. You've already been out there. You know the water problem. We've had this. I've been dealing with this high water table problem for 50 years since I've been in this village.
Backyard.
Backyards and everything. But, this is getting to be it's almost a harassment having to go through this thing every few years and being, subjected to condemnation by insults all the time. But I invite you all, please come. You too, Mr. Keener.
We'll check with the staff and see what they.
Well, now the study's going to be starting. It's going to be conducted. I've been told that photographs are going to be taken, elevations are going to be shot. But if I can withdraw from that study, come on, and you can still come and look at the property, but don't put me in quotes a study where you then have the opportunity to charge me, or probably the necessity to charge me.
We'll check.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Before we get back into Euclid Street, does anyone else have anything they want to bring up at the non-agenda item? Okay. Yes. Go up to the mic and state your name, sign in.
Good evening. My name is Steve Gwynn. I live at Stephen Gwynn, Gwin, and I live at 1105 North Princeton here in the village. I know how my son felt this morning. He's 5. I took him to his first day of day camp. He said, "Daddy, I'm scared." So I kind of know how he feels now. Anyway, I live at 1105 North Princeton. I'm the owner of Keyway Lock-In Security Company. We're at 39 West North Avenue, directly across the street from the Harley-Davidson dealership. You guys need any keys or something, please come by and see us. But we do a lot more than keys. We're actually a full-service locksmith company, and the locksmith industry has undergone an enormous amount of change with the advent of Google and so on and so forth. A lot of people have been scammed. A lot of people have been ripped off. You can actually Google locksmith scam, and it kind of pops up as one of the #1 things that Google is being dinged on right now, and they're actually in a lawsuit type of situation with several locksmiths around the country. It's really hard for us to get found. The legitimate guys, there's just the small business guys who are good, clean operators. We charge what we quote, and we perform a valuable service that's needed in the community. I wrote a small letter.
Hand them to the clerk, she'll pass them out.
And it's basically pertaining to the village's signage ordinance, and just some proposed changes that would actually be an economic driver for not only small business, but it would also drive revenue for the village as well, I believe. Okay. As a resident and small business owner here in Villa Park, I enjoy the safety and accessibility that Villa Park has to offer my family and my business. For the past 3 years, I've enjoyed raising my family and running our company from Villa Park. A small business is the economic driver of the country and an integral part of our community. So I'm hopeful the village is willing to hear from myself and some other business owners with regards to the current signage regulations that the village has. As a resident of the village, I definitely understand the value of upholding the appearance of our neighborhood. As a business owner, I would like to see some small changes that would really help drive our businesses. The advertising flags that people use, Westmont, Lombard, you see these things, they annoy you if there's way too many. Right now, I believe we're allowed to use flags for advertising for the first 30 to 45 days after the initial opening of the business. Small change that could be considered, and this would also help to drive money into the village as well, is that we could, if you could start to let small business owners use it on a temporary basis, when we have sales, when we have some point of advertising that we're trying to make specifically. Not for like the whole year or anything like that, but just maybe like the spring and summer months, maybe for 90 days at a time, and then they have to come down, and they should also not be up when you're not open. So if the business is closed, those flags should be brought in. If you're definitely not there, it makes no sense for them to be just flying up and down the street. This will actually drive revenue into the village, because not saying that the village should not have the signage permit at all, but just maybe start to consider it to be a way to not only drive money into the village, but also help us small business owners out as well. Permanent wall signage. Allow the use of permanent wall signage, providing the business takes responsibility for maintaining said sign. Torn and faded signage should be removed or updated upon the request of the village. Again, this would be another opportunity to drive business, not only for the village, but also for small business. And what I mean is more or less what would be considered a permanent temporary sort of sign. For us to have a banner on the side of the building that advertises locksmith, shows our wares, for that to start to look bad would actually be not only a reflection on the village, but it would be a horrific reflection on the business as well. And I think that we have enough responsible business owners in the village to somewhat police ourselves. Obviously, if said signage was inappropriate, it should be taken down. Obviously, before said signage should go up, it should be reviewed, as is everything right now, by the Office of Planning and Economic Development, I believe, Pat McGrill. So this is a way to, I think there's a happy medium someplace. Am I out of time? Okay.
Yes, but
all right.
But we get your point.
Right.
You would like to have to meet with a group of businessmen and with community development and
find a happy medium.
Economic Development Commission and see what we can work out, what your views are. It's an opportune, good time you bring it up, because we are working on some zoning issues, and
Nice.
that signage is one of them.
Awesome.
So do you know where the community development
I do.
offices are?
Yes, sir.
Jan Fiola and Patrick Grill are down there.
Yep.
And give them a call or stop in there. And like I said, this is a good time for you to bring this up. If you have any other businessmen who are on the same page with you, contact them and bring them
Okay.
along.
All right. My last point, and I'll sit down, was this page 2 is actually showing some stuff that other villages are allowing, and I don't think it's distasteful. I don't think it's hurtful to the community. It isn't an eyesore or anything of that nature.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies and
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Contact the Community Development and Economic Development Office. Does anyone else have anything else? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Isabella Devins and I live at 1505 South Euclid Avenue. Your guys' website, and as you know, you guys were elected to, our community leaders have continued to address the problems that arise in our village and take care of them. So, with the issue on Euclid Avenue, action does need to be taken. You were chosen in the best interest of your community and to serve the members of that community, not to serve a corporation, not for your own best interests. You guys work on a code of ethics, and you should follow that, and you should think long and hard as you go home and have this on your moral conscience, that this affects the people of your community that elected you to help them.
We were going to get there. Okay? We're going to get there. Okay. So let us make some comments, and then we'll. Well, I go down your street, not every day, but quite often, to go to the Thorntons or to the Walgreens or something. And the staff and the manager and I were talking about your issue over there. Not that long ago, and recently also. Part of the problem we saw is it's a wide street. It sort of encourages speed. We were kicking around, possibly making it feel a little narrower, maybe with bike lanes or something to give the perception, for a quick fix to lower the speeds. We also had the suggestion of maybe a couple speed bumps would possibly help. Not with spikes, probably, but just speed bumps. Definitely, that would slow the folks down. When the Thorntons issue gets going a little bit closer to a reality, it's a long way from that right now. Possibly we could explore the cul-de-sac idea and see if we can get them to pay for part of it, or not a cul-de-sac. Maybe there's another alternative besides an actual cul-de-sac. So, but for temporarily, I would think we could either do speed bumps or give the perception of the street being a little narrower. And I know there's probably some other board members, have anything they want to add. So, yeah,
I definitely think.
Trustee Kazone?
I definitely think the board is aware of the problem. I didn't realize until I saw the traffic counts how high the speeds were there. But I think we've known that that is a problem. We have talked about dealing with that problem, especially with the Thorntons issue coming up. I was at the meeting on May 9th and listened to a lot of the residents' concerns there. So that issue is definitely on our radar. But finding the exact solution to that problem is going to take a little bit. But like President Bolt has just said, maybe there are some temporary, some quick fixes we can do. We can't talk to, the police department. Maybe they can step up some patrols in that area and get some radar coverage or something to kind of slow people down for a while. But it's a long-term process to get a final solution to that problem. But the board is aware of that, and we have been discussing that. But we definitely appreciate everyone's comments tonight.
Thank you.
Trustee Wainer?
Thank you, President Bolts. I just want to let the residents know that I think everyone here, I know everyone here cares about your safety and the safety of all residents. Just thinking to myself, why wouldn't this go to traffic and safety? And my tenure as liaison has been relatively short, but I don't ever remember this coming to the Traffic and Safety Commission. Is this something that staff wants to handle on their own, or do we think it's appropriate for it to go to the Traffic and Safety Commission?
Well, I think the Traffic and Safety Commission should look at it, should be involved in the discussion. But I think we're looking right now for some quick answers, something that can happen relatively soon. Traffic and Safety meets this Thursday, is it?
They meet tomorrow.
Tomorrow night?
Yep.
Okay. So, yeah, I think, everybody's input would be helpful. So if you want to put it on their agenda, you can bring it up, right?
Can
Or
certainly do that. I think we could still add something to the agenda.
Sure. So that'd be Thursday at 8.
I didn't want to make this about Thornton's, but since people are bringing it up, I wanted to keep it about the traffic flow. I went to the zoning commission meeting, and they were very, really polite, informative, and respectful. At the end of the meeting, I spoke with you, and you told me that you had a problem with the website, that it was called a truck stop. I told you I would talk with the person who developed the site, and it took convincing, because I said that it isn't a truck stop. We need to be open and honest, and removed that, okay? I wanted to show you the plans for Thornton's. You saw the plans for Thornton's. I have them in here. Thornton's has 2 exits out of their new proposed site. Both exits exit out onto Euclid Avenue. Not back out to Roosevelt, and not back out right here. So a temporary solution, I don't want Thornton's to come to you guys and try to negotiate something that works for Thornton's and not for the community.
Well, I understand you've already met with Thornton's, haven't you?
Well, I met him at the library, and yes, I have met with Thornton's. And he's the one who discussed with us outside after our Village Hall meeting in April how long he's been discussing the plans with you.
Okay. I haven't seen those plans, by the way.
So,
That's okay.
I'm more than happy to share them. And I offered to share them back on that day, and you saw them at the library. But you also know that all the citizens were up in arms, that they talked more about environmental issues, and a lot of people didn't pay attention to where the traffic was exiting. So I would like to have a date and a plan in place prior to Thornton's initiating and delegating which direction their traffic flow should be. Tell me that you can...
That'll all happen in the Planning and Zoning Commission. That's where
No, they said they're still working on it.
Right.
They
So
said it's
there's no
not a
plan
done
yet.
deal.
So Planning and Zoning will handle that issue.
Planning and zoning will handle the issue, but ultimately the board decides, correct?
After Planning and Zoning
Okay.
talks about it.
Thank you.
Sure.
I don't want to add anything. I just wanted to offer, is there an opportunity, since this issue will not get resolved in this type of setting, that it could be that the staff could meet with residents outside this commission and talk about the things that you're considering? Because I think it would be better to have a working group to talk about these, because you will get much further than you being peppered with questions, then comments coming back, and that my opinion differs necessarily from that. I want something done sooner rather than later. And from what I've heard, it sounds like we're sharing the same mindset. And so what can we do now to address the speeding now?
Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, Traffic and Safety.
Okay.
And we've given you some ideas, narrowing the street perception-wise, speed bumps, talk to staff and safety.
Thank you.
Yes, Trustee Case.
I'll ask Mr. Devon a question. Just out of curiosity, going into the GFS from behind, isn't there a sign that says no left turn there, or is it no left turn out?
There's a sign
Well,
there.
it's kind of
It's a
very
wink,
vague.
wink. It's a wink, wink.
Yeah.
President, you're 100% correct.
It's a wink, wink.
What is it, a no left turn in
No
there?
left turn. So
No
it's
left
not
turn
out.
out.
It's a
No left
porch
turn
out,
Okay.
which nobody follows.
Like you said about city cops.
Okay.
But on my own little traffic study, majority of your traffic's coming from Cook County. To get gasoline there, because it's cheaper.
Sure.
There's nothing you can do about that. But that's where a majority of your traffic's coming from.
Okay. Oh, another one.
Hi, my name's Allison Reed. I live at 1450 South Euclid. I know we're talking about changing some things with Roosevelt, but like we said, a lot of the flow is coming from Cook County. You're going from a 55 to a 45 to a 35 in such a short period of time, and I know that the 35 is the street right before Villa. Is where it changes, and people are just whipping right down onto Euclid, you know, and I don't know how any of the other young women on the street feel, but I know that I definitely don't feel as safe with all these people coming down. I've been harassed many times, you know, and it's not, and I've never felt this way before, and it's been the past just few years. So that's another thing to consider.
I think we can talk to the state about where the speed limits go down when they get done, because it goes pretty fast, so. Okay. That's it? Anything new? Okay. We'll move on then to the clerk's report.
Yes. I have something here. The SALT meeting is this Wednesday, June 14. That's at the Community Recreation Building. 11 a.m. is when the program starts. Lunch will be sponsored by the Senior Concerns Commission. And they have a nice program planned by Officer Soto. So we hope all the seniors will make it out Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustees report. Trustee Tucker?
Just want to remind everybody, tomorrow is the Park and Rec meeting at 7 o'clock at Iowa Center. We'd love to have you join us. The park would like to hear what your opinions are of the parks now that they're all opening and in full thrive with kids coming. If you have an opinion, please stop and let them know.
Okay. Trustee Wagner?
Thank you, President Bolthus. Just want to remind folks, as I just mentioned, that the Traffic and Safety Commission is meeting tomorrow here at 8 p.m. at Village Hall. Also wanted to mention that a couple years back we had a community bike ride, and we're making an effort to bring that back. A few of us met last week about that, and the next meeting for the community bike ride will be at the Depot building on June 20th at 7:30. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Casone?
Like Trustee Tucker said, there's Parks and Rec Commission meeting tomorrow night. We are looking for commissioners too for the Parks and Rec, and pretty much all of the commissions in town are looking for commissioners. So if anyone is interested in working with the village and donating some time, feel free and contact President Bolthus regarding which commissions you'd like to be on.
You can go on the website under the Document Center, and then up in the right-hand corner, type in applications for boards and commissions, and follow the directions on there, and those commission applications will get to me. So, Trustee Case?
I just want to say thanks to Manager Keener, staff, Rich Salerno, for acting on a resident's concern pretty quick, and I'd like to thank Acting Police Chief Mr. Lay for taking time to sit with me about some residents' concerns too.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. And the only thing I have is this: remember this weekend, Summerfest. It's a great time, a community event, all ages. So enjoy and stay safe. So, manager's report.
Your Honor, I'm passing this evening.
Okay. With that, I have a motion to adjourn.
President, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
First, second.
Second.
Chuck, all in favor, say aye. Case for second.
Aye.
Aye. Adjourned. Thank you.